It was raining again in New Chicago, cold and dirty rain that washed nothing clean. Jack walked fast, keeping his head low, hands in his jacket. He just finished his night shift at the factory and wanted nothing more than sleep. The city was quiet at this hour, except for the humming of neon signs and the distant sound of hovercars. Then, he heard footsteps behind him, soft but quick, like someone trying not to be heard. He turned into a narrow alley, hoping to take a shortcut. That's when he saw her. A girl stood there in the middle of the alley, blocking his path. She looked around 20 tall, with silver blue eyes that glowed faintly. Her hair was dark, wet from the rain, and her clothes were strange, a mix of metal and fabric. One of her arms looked like it was made of polished chrome. A cyborg. Jack stopped, heart beating faster. He'd seen cyborgs before, but not like this. This one looked too real, too human. Then she spoke, her voice calm but tired. "Jack, it's me," she said. "I found you." Jack stared at her, confused. "Do I know you?" he asked. She stepped closer, the metal in her legs clicking softly. "I'm your wife," she said. "I've come back for you." Jack felt like the world had just tilted. "My wife? That's not possible," he said, shaking his head. "I don't even have a girlfriend." The girl smiled sadly, like she expected him to say that. "You don't remember me yet," she said. "But you will." Jack stepped back, ready to run. "Look, lady, I think you've got the wrong guy," he said. "I'm just a factory worker, okay? I don't know you." Then she said something that froze him in place. "You still sleep with the light on," she said. "And you talk in your sleep. You dream about fire and falling." Jack's mouth went dry. No one knew that, not even his co-workers. He stared at her, feeling cold all over. "Who are you?" he whispered. "I already told you," she said. "I'm your wife, or I was, before everything changed." Suddenly, a loud sound broke the silence. A flying drone swooped down over the alley, scanning the area with a red beam. The girl's eyes turned sharp. "They found us," she said. "We have to run now." Jack didn't move. "Who found us?" he asked, but she didn't answer. She grabbed his hand and pulled him. They ran through the alley, turning corners, jumping over trash piles. The drone followed, and more joined it. Black machines with blinking lights and silent wings. "What the hell is going on?" Jack shouted. "They want me," she said. "And they'll take you too, if you're with me." They reached an old underground door hidden behind a pile of metal boxes. She kicked it open, and they went inside. The room was dark and smelled like oil and rust. There were wires and broken machines all around. She closed the door and locked it with a strange tool from her arm. Jack leaned against the wall, breathing hard. He looked at her, trying to make sense of it all. "Why do they want you?" he asked. "Because I escaped," she said. "And I remember too much." She touched the side of her head. "There's a secret in here, something they don't want anyone to find." Jack rubbed his eyes. "This has to be a dream," he muttered. She walked closer to him, kneeling down. "I know it's hard," she said softly. "But you're not just a factory worker, Jack. You were something else before they erased your past." Jack shook his head again. "No, I've lived here all my life. She placed her hand on his chest right over his heart. "Do you feel that?" she asked. "It remembers, even if your mind doesn't." Jack looked into her glowing eyes. He didn't know what to believe. But deep inside, something strange was happening. A tiny flicker, like a memory just out of reach. Fire, falling. A voice calling his name, and her face, before it was part machine. Before it was metal and glowing eyes. He blinked, and it was gone. "Who are you really?" he asked again, voice low. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. "I'm the only one who can help you remember," she said. "And we don't have much time." A loud bang shook the metal door. The drones had found them. She raised her arm, and a small energy shield appeared from her wrist. Jack stared in shock. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Stay with me, Jack, and I'll show you the truth." The door creaked, metal bending under pressure. Jack had to choose stay or run, but somehow, he already knew the answer. Something told him that whatever was coming, he had been part of it before, and maybe, just maybe, this strange cyborg girl was telling the truth. Jack couldn't sleep that night, even though the girl had secured the door with some kind of force lock. Even though they were safe for now, his mind kept spinning. She sat across from him in the dark room, silent, her glowing eyes watching the door. He kept staring at her, trying to understand what kind of nightmare he had walked into. Or maybe, what kind of nightmare he had forgotten. He leaned back against the cold metal wall. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. She didn't look at him right away. Then she nodded. "You were someone else once," she said. "Not just a worker, not just a face in the crowd. You were a soldier, a leader, and you were mine." Jack laughed nervously. "You're serious," he said. "All this space war stuff, the cyborg wife story, it's real to you?" She tilted her head. "It's real to you too," she said. "You just don't know it yet." Jack rubbed his eyes. "So what? I just forgot everything?" She reached into a small pouch on her belt and pulled out a smooth black object. It looked like a crystal, but it pulsed faintly with blue light. She held it out to him. "This was inside you once," she said. Jack didn't touch it. "What is it?" "A memory core," she said. "Yours, before they wiped you." He stared at it. "I don't remember being wiped." "You wouldn't," she replied. "That's the point." Jack finally reached out and touched it. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, something flickered in his mind. A bright flash, stars, a metal hallway filled with fire, a woman's voice yelling his name. Then it was gone. He gasped, pulling his hand away. "What was that?" "A piece of your real life," she said. "Locked away, but it's still inside you." Jack stood up and began pacing the room. "This is insane," he said. "This can't be happening." She watched him calmly. "They wiped hundreds of us," she said. "After the war ended. The humans didn't want the truth out, so they buried it." "What truth?" Jack asked. "That we made a deal with something we shouldn't have." She said. "An alien AI." Jack stopped pacing. "What kind of deal?" "They promised peace, power, perfect order," she said. "But it came with a cost." Jack walked over to her slowly. "And we fought it?" "You led the charge," she said, "and we lost." "You died." "I'm alive," Jack said. "Because they brought you back," she answered. "Reprogrammed, made into a nobody. Someone who wouldn't ask questions." Jack felt like the walls were closing in. His whole life, his job, his apartment, his habits suddenly felt fake. "What about you?" he asked. "I was broken," she said. "But my backup memory found a host body. I woke up different, more machine than before. But I remembered you." Jack sat down again, hands shaking. "If this is true, then who's chasing us?" "The same people who erased us," she said. "They work for the AI now. Or maybe they are the AI. No one's sure anymore." Jack was silent for a long time. Then he looked at her and asked the one question that burned in his chest. "Why me?" She looked at him with something soft in her eyes, something human. "Because you're the key," she said. "Your memory holds something, a code, a location, I don't know. But they need you. And so do I." Suddenly, a sharp noise rang out. Above them, metal scraping, the hum of something powerful. "They found us," she whispered, standing up fast. She grabbed his hand again. And he didn't pull away this time. They ran to the back of the underground room. She opened a hidden panel in the wall, and behind it was a tunnel, dark and narrow. "We go through here," she said. Jack hesitated. "Where does it go?" "A safe zone," she said. "Old rebel network." They crawled through the tight space, the sound of machines breaking into the room behind them echoing louder. Jack's heart pounded. But now it wasn't just fear, it was something else. Something waking up. As they moved through the tunnel, he began seeing things, not with his eyes, but in his mind. A ship, a battle, a promise. The sound of the girl's laugh when she was still human, a silver ring in his hand, and a single word, whispered in his dreams. Return. They reached the end of the tunnel, and the girl helped him up into another room. This one had old computers, broken armor, and faded flags with symbols he didn't recognize. But somehow they felt familiar. Jack turned to her. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked at him for a moment, surprised. "You don't remember yet?" He shook his head. She smiled. "Lyra," she said. "And your real name isn't Jack. It's Commander Jace Orion." The name hit him like a storm. A flash of light burst behind his eyes, and then everything began to change. Jack didn't speak for a long time. He sat on the floor of the rebel room, staring at the broken flag on the wall, Jace Orion. That name echoed in his head like thunder in a storm. He had heard it before, but only in dreams. He never remembered fully. Lyra sat beside him, quiet, giving him space. He looked at her slowly. "Why does that name hurt?" he asked. She nodded. "Because it was taken from you," she said, "ripped away, along with everything that mattered." The silence between them felt heavy. Then she stood up and walked over to a rusty cabinet in the corner. Inside it was a small black case, sealed with a fingerprint lock. She placed her chrome hand on the surface, and it clicked open. "I didn't tell you everything," she said. Jack looked up, tired but curious. She pulled out a silver sphere from the case, no bigger than a baseball. It pulsed with a red light and gave off a soft hum. "This," she said, "is inside me too." Jack stood up slowly. "What do you mean?" She touched her own chest, right above her heart. "When they rebuilt me," she said, "they didn't just give me machine parts. They hid something in me, something they thought I would never find. But I did." Jack walked closer. "What is it?" "A message," she said, "but also a weapon, a code wrapped in memory and locked in living metal." She placed the sphere in Jack's hand. The moment he touched it, a sharp image flashed in his mind. Lyra, lying in a pool of blood, reaching toward him, a firestorm behind her, and her voice whispering, "Don't forget me." He dropped the sphere, breathing fast. "I remember something," he said. She picked it up calmly. "That's only a piece," she said. "There's more, hidden deep inside my circuits." Jack sat back down, trying to understand what she meant. Lyra knelt beside him again, and this time she spoke with a softer tone. "My body isn't just a machine," she said. "It's a vault. They used me to carry something they feared, something that could end the war, or restart it." Jack looked into her eyes. "So you're a weapon?" She smiled faintly. "Not just a weapon," she said. "I'm a key, and you're the lock." Before he could respond, a sharp alarm rang from a small console on the wall. Lyra stood quickly and scanned the screen. "They're moving fast," she said. "Tracking our heat signature. We need to go?" Jack asked. "Not yet," she said. "There's one more thing I need to show you." She walked over to the far side of the room and pulled back a sheet, revealing a long black pod. It looked like a coffin but with wires, tubes, and blinking lights. Jack stepped forward slowly. "What's that?" "A memory extractor," she said. "Built by the rebels during the last phase of the war. It can unlock pieces of your mind if you're willing." Jack stared at it, then at her. "Willing to do what?" "To relive everything," she said. "The pain, the loss, and the truth." He swallowed hard. "Will it hurt?" "Yes," she said. "But not like before. This time you'll understand." Jack stood silent, heart pounding. Then he nodded. "I'll do it." Lyra helped him into the pod, strapping sensors to his temples, his chest, his arms. She looked at him one last time before sealing the lid. "Whatever happens in there," she said, "remember this. I chose to find you again, even after everything." The pod closed, and darkness wrapped around Jack. Then the machine hummed, and light exploded behind his eyes. He saw a starship flying through a burning sky. He saw men and women in armor, fighting machines that screamed without mouths. He saw himself, shouting orders, saving people, risking his life. Then he saw Lyra. Not as she was now, but as she once had been, fully human, laughing in the sunlight of a planet he no longer knew the name of. They kissed beneath a tree made of crystal leaves. They danced in the dark of space to music only they could hear. They promised each other something, no matter what happens. She said in the memory, "We'll find each other again." The memory cracked like glass. And pain shot through his chest. He gasped inside the pod as images kept flashing torture, betrayal, darkness, and finally silence. When the pod opened, he fell forward. Sweating, shaking, Lyra caught him, her arms strong but gentle. He looked up at her, eyes wide with pain and wonder. "I remember," he whispered. "Good," she said softly. "Because now we have to move." Jack stood with her help, and something in his posture had changed. He was still the same man, but now he carried a weight, a purpose, and maybe, just maybe, a beginning of belief. He looked at her. "You said the code is inside you." "Yes," she said. "Then let's go find out what it unlocks, somewhere." Outside, the enemy was closing in, but inside them both, something greater had awakened, not just memory, but mission. And it was only just beginning. The stars were burning. Not with light, but with war. Ships exploded in silence, blinking out like candles in a storm. Jace Orion stood on the bridge of a falling warship, shouting commands as fire bloomed through the control room. He wasn't afraid, not yet, because somewhere on that ship, Lyra was waiting for him, and in his hand, he held the access key to the only weapon that could change everything. Then the memory shattered, and Jack woke up coughing in the back of a rusted transport truck. Lyra was driving, fast, dodging old cars and broken drones on the highway outside New Chicago. The storm clouds above were turning red, not from weather, but from surveillance. Pulses scanning for them. Jack sat up, hand on his head. "I saw it again," he said. "The weapon." Lyra nodded but kept her eyes on the road. "I was hoping you would," she said. "Because we need to find it." Jack looked around the old truck, half of it patched together with metal sheets and stolen parts. The radio was dead. GPS was fried. But Lyra had something better memory. "You know where it is?" he asked. "Not exactly," she said, "but I know who does." They left the city an hour later, heading into the dead zone, a stretch of desert filled with old rebel bunkers and forgotten tech. Lyra stopped the truck near an old communications tower, mostly buried in sand and bones. Jack followed her down into the dark. The place smelled like dust and old metal. Inside, they found a man, or what was left of one. Half his face was machine. His eyes flickered with static. He sat in a chair surrounded by blinking consoles, wires running into his spine. He didn't speak until Lyra stepped forward and said his name. "Dr. Karn," she said. The man looked up slowly. "I thought you were dead," he said, voice crackling like broken speakers. "I was," she said, "but I came back and I brought him." Karn's eyes turned to Jack. "Jace Orion," he said with a hint of awe. "The commander returns." "I don't remember all of it," Jack said carefully. "You remember enough," Karn replied. "And that's dangerous, Jack." Stepped forward. "I need to know about the weapon," he said. Karn nodded slowly. "It wasn't just a weapon," he said. "It was hope." He reached under his console and pulled out a damaged tablet. On it was a map, 3 red planets circled by black rings. Karn pointed to one of them. "Last transmission came from here," he said. "Titanus 4, an old mining moon turned weapons lab. The weapon was moved there after the AI turned on us. But no one ever came back." Jack stared at the map. "I was supposed to guard it," he said quietly. "You did," Karn replied, "until they erased you." Lyra looked at the screen too. "That moon is deep in alien-controlled space," she said. "No one's gotten near it in years. Then we'll be the first," Jack said. Karn's face twisted in pain. "If you go there, you'll trigger everything we tried to bury. The AI will see you coming." "Let it," Jack said. "If that weapon's still there, it might be our only chance." Karn handed Jack the tablet. "I'll send you the access codes," he said, "but you'll need a ship, a real "One, not that pile of bolts you drove here in." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "We've got one," she said. Karn looked surprised. "Whose?" She smiled. "Yours." Later that night, they stood in front of Karn's old ship. Hidden beneath layers of sand and scrap, it was massive, shaped like a hawk, engines still humming with faint power. Jack walked around it slowly, running his hand along the side as he touched the hull. More memories flickered him, giving orders, launching missions, fighting for a future that was now lost. "This is where it all started," he said. "No," Lyra corrected. "This is where it continues." They loaded supplies, reconnected systems, and powered up the engines. Karn stayed behind, too damaged to travel. "Whatever you do," he said before they left, "don't let the AI get that weapon." "If it does, there won't be a second fight," Jack nodded. "We'll stop it." As the ship lifted into the air, dust swirling below them, Jack stood at the command panel. Lyra beside him, silent but ready. He looked out at the stars. Beyond, somewhere out there was a weapon that could save humanity. And maybe destroy it too. But for the first time since this began, he didn't feel lost. He felt like a soldier again. The stars waited, and so did the war. The sky was falling. That's how it felt as alarms blared and red lights flashed across the control room. The ship shook under them. Hit by plasma rounds from above, Jack gripped the controls tightly. His hands steady but his jaw clenched. Lyra sat beside him, shouting readings and warnings, her voice calm but urgent. "They locked onto us from orbit," she said. "Multiple II drones closing fast." Jack didn't blink. "Hold course," he said. "We're getting out." The ship roared as it cut through Earth's upper atmosphere. Behind them, the city below was burning. Not from war yet, but from fear. The Eye had sent its messengers. Sleek hunter machines with silver wings and red eyes. They had found Jack. They had found Lyra. And they knew the weapon was within reach again. Outside the viewport, 3 drones broke formation and shot toward them. Lyra tapped into the defense system, her chrome fingers glowing. "I can fire 1 round," she said. "Then the shields will drop." Jack nodded. "Make it count." She launched the energy blast, a beam of light slicing through the clouds and hitting 1 drone straight through the core. It exploded into black smoke, but the other 2 moved faster. Jack tilted the ship, dodging a missile that flew just inches past the engine. The pressure inside the ship grew worse as they climbed higher. "Are the jump coordinates ready?" Jack asked. Lyra checked the data panel. "Almost," she said. "Just need 5 more seconds." The second drone hit them, shaking the ship. Sparks flew from the left side console, and Jack's hand burned from the heat, but he didn't let go. "We don't have 5 seconds, he said. Lyra looked at him, her eyes meeting his. Then she nodded. "Activating emergency jump now." She pressed her hand into the panel, and the ship's AI voice responded. "Warning, coordinates unstable." "Do it anyway," Jack ordered. The stars outside bent as the ship charged the jump drive. Then, just before they vanished, the third drone slammed into them. The screen went white silence. When Jack opened his eyes, everything was quiet. The ship floated in the dark, far from Earth. But the stars looked wrong, twisted, like someone had redrawn space with shaky hands. Lyra sat up from her seat, a trickle of red oil running down her forehead. "We made it," she said, breathing hard. Jack looked at the screen. "Where are we?" Lyra scanned the data. "Somewhere near Tightness 4, she said. "But not exactly where we planned." The ship had taken damage. Systems were flickering. Power was low. But they were alive, and Earth was behind them. Jack leaned back in the pilot's seat, exhausted. "I didn't think we'd make it." "You always say that," Lyra said, smiling faintly. "Do I?" "You used to," she said. "Back when we were rebels, every mission, same line." Jack smiled too. Just for a moment, but then the screen blinked red again. "Unidentified object ahead," the ship's voice said. They both turned to look, floating. Near them was a dark mass, silent, no lights, no heat signatures. It wasn't natural. Jack narrowed his eyes. That's not debris. No, Lyra said quietly. That's a warning. The object drifted slowly, then changed direction. Not random, not floating. It was watching them. Jack activated the scanner, but the results made no sense. It's alive, he said. AI scout form, Lyra replied. They sent it ahead of us, so they knew we'd come here. They always knew. They powered up the weapons, even though the ship was in no condition for a fight, but the object didn't attack. Instead, it sent a signal. A single sound repeated over and over again. It wasn't words, but Jack understood it somehow. Come closer, Lyra looked at him. They want us to follow. It could be a trap. It probably is, she said, but we don't have a choice. They set a slow course toward the signal. As they moved closer, stars blinked out around them, like something was hiding their view. The signal grew louder, sharper, almost like a whisper directly into Jack's mind. Then Lyra grabbed his arm. Wait, she said. Look. Outside the ship, hidden in the shadow of the object, was something massive. A metal structure built into the side of an asteroid, covered in rust and battle scars, but on its surface was a symbol Jack had seen. In his dreams, a broken sword through a circle of stars. That's it, he said. The place where we left it. Lyra leaned forward. Humanity's lost weapon, she whispered. They both stared in silence. Behind them, Earth was under threat. Ahead of them, the only thing that could save it. If they could survive, what came next? Jack stood alone on the cold metal platform. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly before him. The weapon lay hidden inside the asteroid fortress ahead, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. Lyra was gone, vanished without a word after they reached the base. He felt the weight of silence pressing down on him, heavier than the vacuum of space. His fingers clenched into fists. He couldn't stop thinking about her. The girl who said she was his wife. The cyborg with glowing eyes and a secret deeper than any star's core. Was she telling the truth? Or was it all a lie woven by desperate hope? Suddenly, the coms crackled to life. Lyra's voice came through, weak but steady. Jack, I have to tell you something you're not ready to hear. His heart pounded as he activated the channel. Say it, he demanded, his voice low, almost trembling. I wasn't always like this, she said. Not always a machine. I was human once. A woman who loved you beyond reason. Jack's breath caught. Memories flickered, warm days, laughter, soft hands, and quiet nights. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I was afraid, she whispered. Afraid you wouldn't believe me. Afraid of losing you again. Her voice trembled as she continued. I died in the war, Jack, but my mind, my soul. They saved me. They put me inside this body to survive. But I'm not just metal and wires. I'm still the same person who held your hand and promised to stand by you. Jack closed his eyes, pain and hope twisting inside him. Then why did they erase my memories? Because the truth was dangerous, Lyra said. Our love was a symbol, a threat to those who wanted control. They erased you to break me, to make sure we never found each other again. Jack opened his eyes, the stars reflecting in them. I don't know if I can trust anything anymore. Trust me, she said. I'm the only one who knows what's real. The platform trembled suddenly. An explosion rocked the asteroid. Dust and debris floating into space. Jack. They're coming, Lyra warned. Who? The ice forces, she said. They won't let us take the weapon. Jack grabbed his blaster. Heart racing, he ran toward the entrance where Lyra had gone. But before he could move, the truth hit him like a lightning bolt. Lyra wasn't just his wife. She was a survivor, a fighter, a key to everything he had lost. And maybe, just maybe, she was the reason humanity still had a chance. He charged forward. The battle had already begun, and there was no turning back. The stars were silent witnesses to the final battle. Jack gripped the controls of the warship, his body tense but his mind clear. Lyra stood beside him, her glowing eyes scanning the dark space ahead. The alien IS fleet spread like a black storm, thousands of ships ready to crush everything. "We can't let them reach the weapon," Jack said, voice low but fierce. Lyra nodded. "They'll destroy it, and with it, hope for humanity." The ship's engines roared as they charged. Into the swarm, laser beams cut through the void, explosions blooming like deadly fireworks. Jack's hands moved with practiced skill, dodging and firing. Lyra's cybernetic limbs transformed. Weapons emerging from her arms, she fought beside him, faster and stronger than any human, amid the chaos. Jack's mind flashed to the memories he had fought to regain, his promise to Lyra, their love lost and found, and the hope they carried for the future. A massive as-I dreadnought appeared ahead. Its surface shimmered with dark energy. Jack knew this was the heart of the enemy, the source of the endless war. "We have to get inside," he said. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "I'm ready," she said. Together, they piloted the ship toward the dreadnought's weak point. Explosions rocked the ship as enemy fighters swarmed them. Jack's heart pounded, but he kept steady. The weapon's code pulsed in Lyra's circuits. It was the key to stopping the AI forever. They breached the dreadnought's outer hull. Inside, the corridors were dark and cold. Jack and Lyra moved carefully, every step echoing in the silence. The IS voice filled the halls, cold and mechanical, promising destruction. But Jack wasn't afraid. He knew what they had to do. Lyra reached into her chest. Pulling out the silver sphere, the weapon's core, she connected it to the control panel. The ship trembled as energy surged through the corridors. Suddenly, the IS defense systems activated. Robotic guards emerged, fierce and fast. Jack and Lyra fought side by side, each movement precise, each strike deadly, as the battle reached its peak. Jack faced the IS core, a massive machine glowing with dark power. He raised his blaster. "Your reign ends here," he said. He fired, and the blast hit the core. Light exploded, filling the room with brilliance. The AI screamed, a sound like 1,000 machines breaking. Then silence. The stars outside brightened, as if the universe was holding its breath. Jack turned to Lyra. "We did it," he whispered. She smiled. "Softly, together," she said. As the ship escaped the collapsing dreadnought, Jack looked out at the stars. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope. Humanity had won. But the future was still unwritten. He took Lyra's hand, and they began the journey home.